Yo, what is up guys? Special League Legend. So first and foremost, thank you all for like the congratulations and all that kind of stuff. Got a bunch of those. Highly appreciate all of that. Also, if you haven't yet, like this video and subscribe to the channel. So as always, farming on the background. Not interesting in that right now. Look at this bad boy. Wait, where did the Special League go? No, the Special League button is gone. Ah! Can't even show it. Okay, picture. Ha! Still, they removed the button when I wanted to make this video. Countess, why did you do this? I guess it's probably gonna be back because this thing is. We got like a second special league for this. What I want to show is like this picture. Looks amazing though, right? Always looks good. This special league legend. So I can't show some old matches. That's too bad. I had like a few matches in history, so I can't go over those. What I'm gonna show, however, is first win rates of like other players and that kind of stuff, what kind of stuff I used, and also I'm gonna showcase some runes, which I mostly don't, but I'm only showcasing runes of the units that I use in Special League or runes specifically for Special League, and that I won't be using in the same way, same state in normal RTA. So I'm not showcasing like anything of that. Since Special League is over, we're not gonna get 20 star anytime soon again. I don't really care about showing those runes, so I'm just gonna showcase a few of those because I know always guys are like interested, like, okay, but can you show Giana? I was like, okay, no, still not gonna showcase Giana, but I can showcase a few other units. So first, let's look at actual some win rates and that kind of jazz. So for the people that know me from like other videos, that kind of stuff, this is a website I just made. I only have access to this because it's not live or anything like that. So, okay. Here we can also like extract like win rates, all of that kind of good stuff. So never really made a video of that kind of stuff. So you can see the win rate. So I've been number 1 and I did 248 matches, and Fame Memory did number 2 on 414. On KFC 307. So the thing is why my matches are that much lower is because my win rate is an insane amount higher. Like this is a crazy win rate. If you compare that to the others, like let's sort it by win rate. I got the highest win rate, even for like comparing to someone that just played like 80 matches or like 105 matches, 127 matches. So this is actually a really crazy win rate, because if you see, there's not even that many people with like 70 plus win rates, just like 18 people 70 plus win rate. So that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. So I was able to keep like a high win rate for a long time. Also in the first few days I couldn't even play all my matches, because at some point you just don't find matches if you're too high, like for MMR, which is super annoying. Let's see how I played and why I didn't play that much. So here all the way at the bottom, so from left to right, this is, so the season started here. So this is just the iteration. This is the rank, the number 7. This is the score. This is the amount of wins, loses, and the total matches, win rate, and then when I got it. So as you can see here, I tried to play like a lot of matches. Here I was like on I didn't check like my matches, or I didn't record my matches in this system for a while. So this is not automated, this is not botted, this is not nothing. I was just gone for like, I was playing from another place for like a few days. So, and therefore this actually like, I was still trying to play in that kind of stuff. So you can see like the gap of like 3 days in that. So yeah, afterwards I was already rank 1. And then I just slowly kept on the rank 1, and starting from here, like the 17-11, you can see here I got like 48 loses, and all the way at the end I got 53 loses. So I got 5 loses in like 37, which is pretty good win rate, and that just gave me a really big climb. And as you can see here, for the last like few days, I played like a few matches in the new year, but just a few. So I just went for a climb of like 26 points. Actually, this rank would have already been fine, because this was the highest rank that Fame Memory got, the 1774. So yeah, and then I was just like, okay, I'm just chilling. I didn't have to play. I'm just letting them play, see how far they get. If they don't get higher than me, I don't have to play. If they get higher than me, of course I'll play more. But yeah, that was that. So I was checking Fame Memory. I was in the metro at that time. I was visiting someone, I was just like, oh my god, I don't want to play. Oh my god, I don't want to play. Please don't get too high. Please don't get too high. So he played all of his matches pretty much until the point that he had like 6 matches left. So I could track that in here as well. Well, I'm kind of in front of it. But yeah. But yeah, he was like at 65 and he had like 6 matches left, so he couldn't catch up. So there I was like, okay, I got the rank 1. So from the matches that I scouted from myself, I can also track win rates and that kind of stuff. I actually got an 81 win rate on this one. I played a lot of Giana. Why wouldn't I? So I played a lot of Giana, Seara, Eshir, Fran. My friend was really doing really good. I played Konamiya at the start, but Konamiya I noticed at some point the cleaving with the Lucian, it wasn't that successful. Also Konamiya, it wasn't that successful for me. I played quite some Mina. Mina was really good, I think. Triana was more of a counter pick, but it worked pretty well. Tion I stopped using kind of. I thought this one would have had higher win rate, same for this one. Miho had a decent win rate. Of course, this is also not all of my matches because I did like 240 matches and I only scouted about 106. Again, this is not automated. This I have to do manual, so I missed a lot when I was like playing from another place and that kind of stuff. But yeah, here I can kind of track like what was important for me. At first I was picking a lot of like Seara first pick, but I transitioned to picking Fran first pick because I noticed like Fran was more important. I didn't make a Lulu, and fighting Fran plus Lulu was highly annoying. So for avoiding fighting Fran and Lulu, I pretty much started first picking Fran and I just upgraded my Fran, which I will show in a second because it's different than my normal Fran. And that just worked out really well. Some other units I used was like Antares, Sion, Vigor I actually used quite a bit more. Okeanos I noticed didn't really work for me. It did work for a lot of people, but it didn't really work for me. Diana, I thought it would be better. Use some Rika here and there, use some Vert, some Vanessa, some Bella, some Praha, some Ashbel. So yeah, this again is not all of my win rates because I'm actually on a low win rate like this than this, and I played a lot more matches than that. So, and the people I track here was mostly for like old SWC and whatnot, so a whole bunch of stuff. So let's look into, I didn't collect that many matches, only like 3,000. Which if you want to get like a good standard of like which units are good, you would likely have to get like about a 10k matches because Dover and Tessarion, they're like on the highest win rate here. So those, take this with a grain of salt, as we say in Dutch, it's not the most accurate. For the units that have a high pick rate, however, it does make more sense. So this is Lulu, by the way. I am too lazy to edit like the the ID from Lulu and just put it in the system because I have to do everything. And at some point I'm just like, I know this is Lulu. I don't give a shit. So Lulu was actually on a terrible win rate. Lulu is overrated, boys. It's bad unit. It's not that great. It's too one-dimensional. It doesn't do too much. If you compare Lulu to Fran, Fran has the speed lead, the cleanse, the attack buff, actual decent amount of damage, attack debuff. It's multi-dimensional unit where Lulu is just like, I heal again, I heal again, and they get slapped the shit out of. So Lulu is actually not that great, as we can see here. So some high picked units, Fran 50-50ish. Vigor was pretty good, 53. I didn't pick that much Vigor, mainly because I was highly picking Seara, and Seara had a good win rate against Vigor. Like I said before in the road to SWC, how do I prepare my matches is I check what's being played and then I counter that. So I noticed like I'm gonna play a lot of like Vigors, Frans, Sierras, what else, Lulus and that kind of stuff. So I make a team that's really good against those kind of units. So Lauren, pretty high pick rate, decent win rate. Triana, not that high win rate. Vert, not that high win rate. Okeanos actually had a high win rate, but he didn't fit my team. So you gotta work with the 20 stars, right? If you're working with the 20 stars and you just like throw in like net 5, net 5, net 5, I'm pretty much core picking Sierra Giana. I cannot core pick Sierra Giana Okeanos because that leaves me that I have to pick Konamiya or Lulu. I didn't make a Lulu, so I have to pick Konamiya. Konamiya was not working that well for me. Therefore, Okeanos was not working that well for me. So I kind of dropped Okeanos out of the equation and I kind of like de-ruined him for like what I normally do. Mio had a decent win rate. Molly had a low win rate. I don't know why, but okay. Konamiya, high win rate. Giana actually super low win rate. Also, my Giana is not in this win rate, so I would have boosted like some of the units that I used by Allah, so I've removed mine, so it's kind of biased. Also, I didn't see a lot of matches, so kind of biased at first. Anyways, Eshir, really good unit. I started using Bernard at first, and then I switched. Like, I saw a few people use Eshir, and I was like, Eshir is good. Eshir is definitely good. Even to the point that I was like, fuck it. I lost this one match through the like I was lacking some damage on Eshir S3. I'm like, fuck it, I'm just double moning him. So I threw like the devil mons at Eshir, and damn, was it worth it. Damn, was it worth it. So Mina was doing pretty well. Ragdoll decent-ish. Barbara pretty low. This is one of those, like, some of those net 5s just don't fit. Chunky Punky. Oh man, I want a Chunk Pong, man. Chunk Pong. I saw the team of Hong KFC. Hong KFC was drafting Seara, Giana, Kona, Eshir, plus Chunk Pong. And then he had like Chunk Pong S2 into Kona S2, Chunk Pong S3. Ooh, man, that team was hella strong. It was a little bit like one-dimensional that people at some point knew was like, okay, he's doing that, and therefore he dropped some in win rate. But man, that team was hella strong. Odin is really good in Special League because some of those units are just better in Special League than others, while they're normally not that great. Because the main thing is you cannot pick like all of the good counters always, because you are limited to the amount of stars, and that's pretty important. And that's why some of these units do really well, and some of these units, Antares, 36 Antares, that's terrible, man. Your guys' Antares is no bueno. So yeah, that's pretty much for the win rates. Like overall, these are not my win rates, but like the overall win rates that I got from like nearly 3k matches. So that's some of the units that I've seen. So let's check into actual some runes. So this was pretty much my box, what I used for Special League. Few extra additional units here and there. Of course, I'm not gonna show units that are same rune as I have in normal. So that excludes Seara, Giana, Vanessa, Cian, Rika, Leo, and that's actually Pisama and Amelia. Just those 9, and oh wait, this is 8, whatever. Just those units, and the rest I actually all re-runed towards Special League. So I actually re-runed a lot. Well, you're not gonna get a legend by like, oh, I'm not even trying. Like, no, you actually have to try. So yes, Mina, first unit. Oh, I use this one so much. And the thing is, you want to have Friend move in front of her, then you want to have Mina to move, and then afterwards you follow up with an Ileana or with a Kona. That was pretty much one of the things that I used. And this thing is Vio Nem, and she still had like a decent to good amount of like defense and HP, which is actually pretty good, because she's always first focus, so it's good to have like some extra stats on that. And this thing just, on an attack buff, I have annihilated figures with just an S2. Like, I'm not lying, man. Just an S2. This also helps 21% crit damage. This one, some extra damage on, well, just fire and some extra from attack. And I knew like wind units are gonna be picked into me because I'm picking this like more often than just as a main counter. So then it's good to have like the main element against you as a result. So yeah, I used this unit quite some, and it had like some of like the crazy runes like this. This had was like some of my more crazy rune sets. Vigor, I didn't use that much. It's via will. Artifacts are like this. I actually used it mainly against like light LD5. So like if I came to face like Jaegers, Ragdolls, Mollies, that kind of jazz. So that's why it also has damage on light. That's what I mostly do with like a lot of my RTA stuff. Like, okay, I have this unit, it's a specific counter on this, and then also my artifacts fit that purpose too. Which is why I think my win rate is a lot higher than other people's, is because I really optimize, okay, this is my core, this is what I use next to it, this is what I use against these counters, this is what I use against these counters, and everything match. Artifacts match, runes match, the team matches, the synergy matches, everything matches. And then of course you have Giana, but like how many players have Giana as well and are not even close to 70% win rate, and was close to 80. So that's mainly the thing, and I think therefore I had such a like big advantage over other people. Sure, some other people would have like probably done the same, but I think for me it just worked out better. So also what people mistaken is Vigor actually does damage based on attack. Sure, he does damage based on HP, but still a lot of the damage is from his attack. Therefore, if you have a Vigor with like plus 160 attack, it's gonna do no damage compared to this. This on an attack buff armor break hits about 11 to 12 Ks or per third skill hit. This thing annihilated Verts on the first turn. This thing did an absolute insane amount of damage. So therefore, Vigors keep in some attack. Sure, you don't have to go like attack slot 6. That doesn't make sense, but get in some damage from those substats. It's helping. It's helping a lot. Kona, I had Kona at a better set before, but I kind of like lowered it at some point because I started just not using Kona that much anymore. Still, then it's okay-ish Fio leftover set. Well, it's actually, no, it's slow. Izaria, I didn't use Izaria that much, but when I needed a speed lead, it was okay. The crit rate is pretty low, but I used it a few times. Also, I used some artifacts that it did like 27% of attack additional, which was a lot of attack. So actually the third skill did a lot of damage, especially on the amount of attack that's increased. Attack buff multiplies with the attack additional damage, blah, blah, blah. Did a shit ton of damage. So I used it here and there as a speed lead, but not too much. Praha, I learned the Praha pretty late. I didn't use it as much. This is a different Praha than I use in my normal build. So this was just a Despair 170. And overall, good stats, I would say. Some artifacts, just additional, whatever. But yeah, overall, pretty good. Pretty good Praha. My third in Sion, I kept exactly the same as I have in normal, so I'm not going to showcase those. Okeanos, however, I changed. Like I said, I didn't use Okeanos as main anymore, so therefore I didn't care to have Okeanos, or I don't care to show Okeanos. It's just a whole bunch of stats. Like, it's still via will. It's not fast, but it's pretty like a lot of stats. And I barely use this unit, but at some point when, especially when people take Seara, then I have more of the option to take Okeanos. So when people were taking Seara, I took Okeanos here and there. Juno barely used, and Terrace is same as normal. My Lucian was pretty close to my RTA or my normal arena Lucian. The only difference that I had is I had will runes in there. So because of the will runes, I was able to save some more hits and that kind of stuff. But at some point, I just stopped Lucianing because it was not that great. It was not what you wanted to do. Monkey is actually pretty same as I get in normal RTA, so I'm not showcasing that one. Triana I used quite some. Triana actually went for 100 crit rate. Sometimes against Miho's not the most comfortable thing to do. But then if you go 100 crit rate, you throw in like a 22% crit damage artifact in there, and it's actually pretty nice. So also Triana only has one skill that does damage, although one skill additional damage actually makes a lot of sense. And yeah, some additional stuff like that. But overall, pretty decent Triana. It worked quite well. Diana, I thought she did better, but I used her here and there. She's a good counter, last pick, that kind of stuff. She's kind of like demolished by the Molly and Vigor meta. But besides the Molly and Vigor meta, it still works pretty well. Also for artifacts, I gotta make a separate video of artifacts because I think so many people are misunderstanding artifacts. You could be like, oh, I'm gonna do HP extra damage on Diana because I have a lot of HP. It's like, wait, what? Why? It's like, yeah, but I have a lot of HP. It's like, but do you not know how Diana works? Because Diana, with this, removes half of her HP. So you remove half of your damage that you increased to do what? Yeah, but she does damage based on HP. She doesn't. This thing is full 100% damage from attack. She gets attack based on HP, but then she does damage from attack. And your HP is converted into attack. So what do you need? You need attack increasing artifacts, honey. They're like, oh, really? Yes, really. So yeah, additional attack. This thing did like 4.5 to 5Ks like right from the get-go without attack buff. That was pretty funny. But yeah, artifacts 101. There's a whole bunch of more like niche artifacts like that. But yeah. Then I used Shimate here and there. Pretty amount like. This looks like a good Shimate, right? But it didn't perform that well. I don't know. I didn't like Shimate. Also, you just saw in the win rate, Shimate is not that high in the win rate. Then we got the one and only. This was one of my main picks. So I mostly contested Friend Seara, Giana and Eshir. Those were like my four core units. And this is why. This Eshir was legit. This Eshir was super legit. Fourth skill doing like 4Ks per hit, that kind of jazz. It was on a broken set, however, just because I needed the more crit rate and enough speed. We got like 30 speed up here, 26 here, 27, 26. So it's not the most crazy amount of speed, like not the fastest speedy one, but it has a lot of HP, it has a lot of attack, it has a decent amount of defense, it has a lot of crit rate for this kind of build. A little bit up on the crit damage as well, still enough Aki to actually land shit. This was like overall a super solid Eshir, and I noticed I didn't need that. I only had like a few things outspeeding me because Eshir like base speed is that high. I could have made a faster Eshir and like remove some of the crit rate, because of course if you're building a swift unit you mostly got a swift slot too, which is easier than to have like a different slot anything for higher speed. So I could have done that, but I really like the amount of crit rate. He did a lot of damage, he annihilated Lulus and that kind of stuff, so that was really nice. And this unit just really worked, and therefore skilled up the unit as well. It's just extra damage, some more recovery and some extra damage. So it's not the most crazy skill ups, it's not necessary, but this unit just did really well, and there's a good chance I'll be using this unit in normal RTA as well. Probably on a slightly different build, because these runes are of course on some other units. Like you're not gonna keep these runes like somewhere left over. This is crazy runes. So yes, Eshir is a good unit. I wouldn't be surprised if more people are gonna pick up Eshir in normal. So then we had the Fran. Fran was 181, so it was mainly used to move in front of Mina. I actually had to slow down Mina because my friend wasn't able to catch up on a 24 lead. Yeah. But yeah, that still like high damage. Oh, also for Eshir artifacts, additional damage from speed, because you have speed buff, speed lead, high base speed, high speed increase, multiplier, damage. So that was kind of my idea behind it, and yeah, really worked. So for Fran artifacts, just adding extra damage as well. Actually, I focused a lot on like damage. Normally I have more like tanky-ish Fran, but this was just high speed, outspeed that shit, and worked really well. It definitely worked really well. My Ileana was actually it's decently fast, but pretty low on like overall stats. And I used additional damage from speed as well, so she was able to still hit like a pretty decent amount, which was okay. Didn't use her. Well, actually, I used her quite some for like the. Normally, I don't want to use units that have like a bad-ish set, but this unit it just worked really well. If I went like Fran Ileana, people had like a lot of issues to get like through that, and it cycled like really well. Then we had Lauren. I started using Lauren pretty late. I don't like Lauren that much, to be honest. It's a pretty good unit in general, yes. But for me, it just didn't work that well most of the time. But when I started using her, she was okay. She was not that bad. Fire Broken. Just, well, she had this one, which is normally on another unit, of course. Pretty good rune. And then some additional, like, damagey things, whatever, that kind of jazz. But, yeah, she worked pretty well. She worked pretty well. Then we had Miho, just the typical Miho, lots of damage, Fire Nam, that kind of stuff. I used it a few times, mainly against cleavers. But that's the thing, like if you counter all the cleavers, if you counter all like the bruisers and that kind of stuff, and at some point you just have a really high win rate. If you just like, if you have a setup like, okay, if they go this, I counter it with this. If they go this, they counter with this. Also, I track from like the high-end players. What are they using? What could I counter against that? And that kind of stuff. So that helped out a lot. And for that reason, I also made Ashubel, because I saw a lot of people were cleaving with like Gemini's, high speed, no will kind of teams. So then I'm like, okay, speed lead, AoE like sleep. This unit is really good. It's just a swift whatever's left over. Same for this one. I just made it to counter some of those speedy teams. Absolutely not a good set. Absolutely not a good set. But still, it really worked as for the people, because a lot of people in Special League are one-tricking. And if you know which people are doing which one trick, you can easily counter the people. And that's where a lot of my win rate came from. So I was pretty much just keeping track of like, what are people using and how would I draft against it. And I would make specific units to actually counter like really specific teams. Which was, Astubel was one of those. Triton was one of those. Actually the Isaria also kind of. So that was just to just to get in the mindset of, okay, every draft should be winnable. I'm not gonna lose a single match clearly just by losing the draft, which I then have to win on RMG. That was my main mindset. Did I actually lose some matches on drafts? Yes, here and there I lost a few matches on draft, but then right away I started checking, like, okay, what could I have drafted? Could I build something else? Do I have like the rune setup? Do I have the units to actually do that? So every time I spend a lot of time in preparing rather than actually like playing a lot of matches. So that's how I got legend. Some of these units really work out, man. Like next special league, 4-star, 20-star, anything, make an Eshir, man. Eshir is insanely good. So good. So yeah, that's it for my rune showcase. Too bad I can't show like the last few matches that I still had in there. There were some like funny-ish matches. But as you can see, the 3 units I used a lot here, and then Antares was more random. If they just like, if they go Diana Vert, a lot of turn cycling, and they don't do too much, like, hey, that's a free Antares for me, right? So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed seeing some runes. Actually, normally I don't show any of these runes. Okay, video is a bit on the lengthy side already, but I don't care. The new special league just started. It does allow me to show some of my old replays. I only have in 5 replays, so I want to show a few of them. The El Mino matches were fun. I won one, I lost one. Also, what did I do wrong in the second draft? What did I do right in the first draft? Well, the main thing is he's Lulu plus Fran, and then plus the double LD. So Lulu, Fran plus triple LD most of the time is super annoying to play against. He goes for Okeanos here, which is not that big a deal. And this was actually one of my main drafts. I didn't pick Eshir here because Vigor is better against LDs in general. So he leaves in Giana, which is not that smart. And this is where you can see what the damage of a Vigor does. Look at that. Look at that. That thing is probably actually tanky. That thing is supposedly tanky. Look at that amount of damage, like straight off the bat. So I just have to tumble down that Okeanos, and he pretty much has like no way of killing me or CCing me or anything. So he misses that. Well, that's less than a 50-50 actually. So too bad for him. And then he wastes his S3, which is really useless. So because he wastes his S3, I can also waste my S3 on Ileana pretty much. Could have saved it, but it's really not that big a deal. Just getting in the shields, and I just do a lot more damage than he does. Sure, he has like 3 units with heals, pretty much. But I just have a lot of damage with all of these units just cycling turns and that kind of stuff. I got way more turns than he would. And then it's just easy, and he knows. So second match is one of the few matches I actually lost on draft. And the reason why I lost this on draft is A, he took Fran. Fran was really important here. But I picked Ileana here, and Ileana, I know he plays Jaeger, and Ileana against Jaeger is not good at all. If that Ileana was a Triana, it would have been a lot better. So sure, I could do this. If I had some procs in, if I had a proc on one of these units, I could have gotten away with it. But instead he gets the first proc and he gets the second proc, so that didn't really work out. But either way, if I didn't kill something right off the bat, he's gonna one-shot something with attack buff. So it was pretty much already done by this point. So if I had a Triana in there, my Triana actually, well, not in this case, but normally my Triana has reduced damage from light exactly for this kind of scenario. So it's one of those niche units. I use artifacts to counter what he does. So then I had 3 more matches. They banned me Giana, but they banned me Giana like pretty much all the time. The thing with this is you just do so much damage. So I actually missed 1 critter, which is fine. But that's the thing with Eshir, you get first turn. If things are not on will against a team like this, it's a 3v4. And I was aiming for that a lot. And that really worked out a lot, as you can see. So sure, you can do that. He actually provoked Vigor, which is a little bit annoying. Did get a proc here. And this one barely doesn't kill. So that's actually pretty bad. So I thought like, okay, this might be an issue here. But my Seara still does like quite some damage. And then we have Massacre, and Massacre is an insanely good skill. Look at the amount of damage while having that defense buff there. If he knew he was gonna proc, he would have done S2 and that would have procced it right away. But yeah, he didn't. Luckily. So yeah, my Seara procs 1 time, so I get my bomb up pretty quick, which helps out a lot. That thing is freaking paper. That thing like was legit paper, and that helps me out a lot. But then massacre damage. Look at that massacre damage. It's just insane. Also, the Nemesis proc easy. So a lot of my matches actually went like that. And this one, this was a highly funny match. This is one of those matches like, okay, I got the bank on CN plus, well, he took my Giana, and this was one of the few I was like, I'm not sure if he has Giana. And then, okay, he has Giana. Okay, so playing against Giana. So, am I that Giana biased? Do I need her, or can I play against her? Well, we'll see. So yeah, Massacre is such a good, like, look at that amount of damage, man. Look at that amount of damage. That thing is pretty much annihilated. That Rika, I can tell you, is max resistance, so it's actually pretty common that that one was resisted. But then he gets an issue. You got a boosted bomb. You got a boosted bomb, and if you're playing against me, you do not want to eat boosted bombs, son. You do not want to eat boosted bombs. Let me show you why. Let me show you why. You did. You did. And a little proc. You dead and you dead. Done. You don't want to play me when you got boosted bombs on your ass. You did. And then my very final match. Which again, he had Giana. So, well, he had a lot of cycling of turns. So Antares into a Vigor is not always that great. But since he had no way of stripping the... Antares, besides using Diana, but Diana, you're not gonna strip Antares. I was like, okay, I can get away with this. I can totally get away with this. And my Antares is just a sick amount of damage. So my Antares was actually barely moving at all for the first like few turns. Even got a little proc. Antares is still like, I'm chilling. I'm chilling. He switches at the moment that my Antares just had like 9 turns without. That's stupid, man. You're counting turns, right? That's the most stupid time to change. Don't do that. Like, you change when Antares just proc. It's fine. You can get away with it. If Antares didn't proc where like for 6-7 turns, you're gonna kill yourself, son. You're gonna kill yourself. So yeah, he goes for some Lulu heals. He goes for some more heals. Some decent damage. Didn't crit too much. Anti-crit buff came in kind of clutch. And Antares is about like, let's start moving. Let's start moving. Let's start doing some stuff. Also, Eshir has won lots and lots of damage. So, and there we go, S2, we're done. We're done, Antares too much damage, we're done. So this was actually my last match. So just quick showcasing some of my few matches just to get some idea of like drafting that kind of stuff. But most of the time, as you see, contesting Fran, Eshir, Seara, Giana, that's what I did. Also, subscribe to the channel because there's more good stuff coming, and see ya in the next one.